In today's video lecture, we will cover one of the most important part of business ethics and CSR, Consumer Protection Act 2019. And Consumer Protection Act 2019 is a landmark piece of legislation by the lawmakers of India. And I will discuss this and how it supersedes the earlier act and what are the changes, what are the benefits. This is very important for all the students of BBA and BBA LLB or BA LLB, because consumer protection is something which will gain currency in times to come, especially with rapid proliferation of e-commerce in India. And that is the second thing we will discuss, that this time now the Consumer Protection Act 2019, it also covers the e-filing of complaints. And it not only that, it also covers procurement or purchases made by consumers uh, over digital platforms. Just I want to tell you that Consumer Protection Act does not cover resellers. So if you have bought something from a big wholesale shop in wholesale quantity, it will not cover that. Huh? So I will also explain what are the various authorities under Consumer Protection Act at various levels. The highlight of the new act I will explain, and what is Consumer Central Consumer Protection Authority. Also, what is very important is the mediation process which has been introduced. What is meant by a product liability clause? What are the penalties on companies? Now, it's not only a penalty on seller, penalty of the companies if it is proven that uh, class action is involved, and there is a product, for example, which has some ramification, and that ramification is not limited to just one or two consumers but to entire class of consumers. And then we will also cover the complaint process. So this is a very important lecture. This is a very important concept, Consumer Protection 2019. Unfortunately, it has not received so much of attention in the media. I don't know why, because we in media we tend to discuss more about politics and cricket and Big Boss, and even when we take business aspects, we tend to glorify scams, talk more about scams. It's a very positive piece of legislation. In the last, I will say, in the last 5 or 6 years, as far as consumers are concerned. Consumer Protection Act 2019 of India. So I thought before we dive deep into what is Consumer Protection Act 2019 and how is it different and more comprehensive over the law that it superseded, I want to draw your attention to two terms, and the term is consumerism. Because you hear this term uh, from people at different times. First, original definition of consumerism, which I learned about it, is that uh, consumerism is a movement which seeks to protect and inform consumers by requiring such practices like honest packaging, honest advertising. So consumerism is it's a kind of organized movement to protect the rights of consumers and to remind the manufacturers and advertisers as to what their duties are and what their legal requirements are. So consumerism as a movement, consumerism as something which safeguards the interest of consumers. On the other hand, anyway, this was consumerism. This was the definition which started taking shape when Ralph. I will come to the origin of when the famous activist of consumerism, when he wrote a book which is called Unsafe at Any Speed, Unsafe at Any Speed. And in the book which came out in around 1985, he wrote a highly influential critique of safety record of American automobile manufacturers. And he led a group of volunteers, most of them law students, and they were called Nader's Raiders, in an investigation of the Federal Trade Commission, leading directly to that agency's overall and reform. So he basically raised the concept of how car manufacturers in America were completely disregarding the key component of safety when they were manufacturing automobile. And Nader was a son of a Lebanese immigrant into United States. He also ran for presidency. He founded a party called Green Party. Of course, he came poor third. He came. He ran for presidency twice or thrice, I don't know. And he in 2000 he led a movement which was quite. He led a impressive run for presidency, which was kind of covered by media a lot. His activism has been directly credited with the passage of several landmark pieces of American consumer protection legislation, including Clean Water Act, the Freedom of Information Act, the Consumer Protection Safety Act, the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, and the Whistleblower Protection Act. Whistleblower Protection Act, you can say, also came into being in America after the lot of work which was done by Nader. And it is said that at a point in time, lot of the automobile lobby it tried to prevent the rise of Ralph Nader in every way possible. And this was also noticed by investigating agencies, and Nader came to occupy the position of some kind of a hero in America, consumerism. In India, of course, we know about Mr. H.D. Shourie, father of Mr. Arun Shourie. He was a civil servant, and he set up an NGO called Common Cause, which was responsible for a lot of consumer protection movement in India. And Pushpa Girimaji writes on consumer protection. And so this Consumer Protection Bill 2019, this is in a way, in its latest avatar, something which proactively seeks to prevent consumers against any practice that is detrimental to their interest, and it's an act passed by the parliament. Second definition of consumerism, sometimes it is the idea that increasing consumption of goods and services purchased in the market is always desirable goal, and that a person's well-being and happiness depends fundamentally on obtaining consumer goods and material possession. So in an economic sense, this is related to the predominantly Keynesian idea that consumer spending is the key driver of the economy, and that encouraging consumers to spend is a major policy objective. So from this point of view, consumerism is a positive phenomenon that fuels growth, economic growth. You see, in this time of pandemic, it is said that you must put more money in the hands of people so that they can consume more. But here consumerism is meant as a belief that accumulating more and more things leads to more happiness, and it is also good for economy. So these are two concepts of consumerism. For the purpose of for my students, I want to tell you that you must understand the context in which this word consumerism is used. When we talk of Consumer Protection Act, and when we say consumerism, we mean to use consumerism in terms of any exercise that is aimed at protecting, safeguarding the interest of consumer. So I wanted to make this somewhat clear, before to all of you, because many times you will hear consumerism. Sometimes consumerism will rise in the consumer movement. Sometimes consumerism means overconsumption, and the belief that consumption is good for the economy. Consumption brings happiness. It is good for the well-being. So I thought I should discuss this with my students. If I am to summarize Consumer Protection Act 2019, I will say that Consumer Protection Act 2019 was passed on 9th of August 2019. It's an act of the Parliament, and it replaces the older act, which is Consumer Protection Act 1986. So it is 96, 2006, 16, 17, 18, 19. So almost after 30, 39 years, 33 years, a new act has come, and it changes the structure of redressal forum substantially. Like the limits of district consumer courts have been enhanced, of state consumer not courts, district consumer forum has been enhanced as to up to which amount the value of case a district forum can hear. What is the limit for state forum? What is the limit for the national consumer forum? Important thing is it covers e-commerce, and this is very important. I'll explain to you a bit later. And it has product liability options. This also I will explain to you. Just this is a slide I have given to you just to give you highlights of this. And the spirit is that it aims at providing ease to consumers by e-filing complaints. I will explain to you more. And the Act also provides for mediation cells attached to district, state and national commissions. Mediation cells, this is an important thing. The commission can refer a matter for mediation if both the parties consent to settle their dispute in this manner. Very important highlight is consumers can file complaint at his place of residence. So there is no link with the place where the seller is. So if I bought something, let us say from Dehradun, and I have a complaint, I have a proper receipt, I have a proof to show that I bought something from Dehradun and it is a defective product, I can file a e-complaint. There are penalties also. There are penalties also in this in the new Consumer Protection Act. When I was referring to e-filing of complaint, I want to say that the new act provides flexibility to the consumer to file complaints with the jurisdictional consumer forum located at the place of his residence or work of or the work. So if I am I live in Delhi and the product has come to me from Bombay, then I need not go to Mumbai to file the complaint. So I mean, this is unlike the practice of filing it at a place of purchase or where the seller has its registered office. So this is completely agnostic to the office of the seller. So the new act also contains enabling provision for consumers to file complaints electronically and for hearing and examining the parties through video conferencing. This is very important. Not only you are now allowed to file an e-complaint, time can be saved, hassles can be avoided, and the hearing or the examination can happen through video conferences. This is aimed to provide procedural ease and to reduce inconvenience and harassment to the consumer. So these are some of the important features of Consumer Protection Act. In the next slide, I will explain to you what are the various authorities which are established under this act. Let us now discuss the authorities which are established under the Consumer Protection Act 2019. So let's take the lowest level first, which is called the District Commission. If you recall, earlier it was called District Forum, and the jurisdiction of disputes up to 1 crore is settled at District Commission. Earlier it used to be under the earlier act, which was Consumer Protection Act 1986. This limit used to be 20 lakh rupees, or was it 10 lakh rupees? I think it was 20 lakh rupees. So, what are the features of under the new act of this authority? First of all, the composition. The composition is like this: that the commission will comprise of one president and at least two members. The rules do not specify the maximum number. Out of two members, at least one member must be a woman. So, composition is like this: at least three members, out of which one president and one woman. Qualification of president is he should be either a sitting judge or a former district judge. And other members, age limit is 35 years of age, minimum 35 years of age. Minimum educational qualification is graduation. So if somebody is a diploma holder, it won't work. But graduation, minimum graduation, and knowledge or experience of around 15 years in certain fields like economics, law, public affairs, etc. Selection committee. President is a person who is appointed by the state government in consultation with the Chief Justice of the High Court of that state. For the other members, there is a selection committee, and selection committee consists of a High Court judge and secretaries of ministries of law and consumer affairs of that state. So a committee which is actually comprising of one sitting High Court judge and secretaries of Ministry of Law and Consumer Affairs of the state government. They will choose the other two members. President, as I already said, is appointed by the state government. So essentially, Chief Minister plays a role, and the Home Minister of that state, and the Chief Justice of High Court of that state. What is the tenure of District Commission? The tenure is 5 years or until 65 years of age, whichever is earlier. And members can be reappointed, but only for one term. So one step over the District Commission is the State Commission, and the jurisdiction is in terms of value of a dispute between 1 crore to 10 crore. Earlier it used to be 1 crore in the case of State Forum. Okay, and if there is an appeal from District Commission, then these appeals will be heard in State Commission. The composition, the Act says that the Commission will comprise of a president again and at least 4 members. Minimum 4 should be there. The rules do not specify maximum number of members again. Like in case of District Commission, there were president plus 2 members minimum. So here there is president plus minimum 4 members. Okay, and once again, at least one must be woman. Another catch is, out of these 4 members, not more than 50% should be from judicial background. Why this is done is because the idea of setting up consumer court is to move away from court kacheri, as they say, so that consumers can easily find out a solution. So not more than 50% members should have judicial background. They should be drawn from ordinary walk of life. Once again, minimum bachelor's degree. Qualification: the president must be a sitting or former judge of the High Court. For other members, again, age limit is 40 years. Earlier in the State Forum, it was in the District Forum, it was 35 years. They must possess a bachelor's degree, and here they should have knowledge of experience of at least 20 years. In case of District Commission, it was 15 years. Here 20 years in some fields such as economics, law and commerce. Selection, once again, it's a merit based selection. It is based upon a selection committee comprises of High Court judge. Here the High Court judge will be nominated by Chief Justice of the High Court and the secretaries of the Ministries of Law and Consumer Affairs of that state. So that one is the same as it is there in the case of District Commission. Tenure, here the retirement age is 67 years and tenure is 5 years or 67 years of age, whichever is earlier. So if a person has not completed 67 years, suppose a person is appointed when he is 62 years of age and he is so he reaches 67, he'll have to go. because he has reached 67. It does not matter that his 5-year tenure is not complete. Reappointment is allowed, but only one reappointment. So from the former act, in this case, the value of the jurisdiction, the value of the dispute is raised from 1 crore to 10 crore. So till 1 crore, the matter will be heard in district commission. Beyond 1 crore, more than 1 crore, and less than 10 crore, it will be heard in state commission. So, and I have explained to you the composition. We will see the composition of the national commission in the next slide. For the setting up of the national commission, the jurisdiction in terms of the money value is above 10 crore rupees, and of course all the appeals from the states, they come to the national commission. The commission, one thing I want to tell you is that several aspects of this Consumer Protection Act 2019 are being challenged, and some of them could be subject to change. For example, in the National Commission, the term of the president and other members is said to be only 4 years or 70 years. 4 years. So 4 years is considered too less, and it may be in conflict with earlier rulings of the Supreme Court. But nevertheless, the composition is like this. The commission will comprise of 4 to 11 members, out of which at least one member must be a woman. President must be a sitting or a former Supreme Court judge or Chief Justice of a High Court. So either a sitting or former Supreme Court judge or Chief Justice of a High Court. For other members, it can be High Court judge, not the president, other members, or a district judge and additional district judge, or people with experience and knowledge of more than 25 years, at least 25 years in certain fields such as economics, law, and public affairs. It is not mentioned in the website which I have referred to as prsindia.org, or in the Gazette. It is not mentioned if they should be graduates, but I think they have to be graduates. The selection of National Commission, and I am referring to the 2020 rules. The President and members of National Commission will be appointed by a selection committee. So what will be the selection committee? The sitting Chief Justice of India, and if he is not available, any other sitting Supreme Court judge, number 1. If the President is already nominated for the members, then the President of the National Commission, who is normally a sitting or a former Supreme Court judge or a Chief Justice of a High Court. Third is Secretary, Ministry of Consumer Affairs at the union government level. So Secretary for Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, and another Secretary of Ministry of Commerce. So this commission will have a mix of judicial and non-judicial technical members. The term of the President is 4 years or 70 years, whichever is earlier. Other members 4 years or 65 years, whichever is earlier. Once again, several of these things could change, as many of these are being challenged in the courts. But for now, from what I research from my secondary sources, this is what it is right now. District Commission, the State Commission, and the National Commission. There are 2 more organs under the Consumer Protection Act 2019. One is the Central Consumer Protection Authority, and the purpose is to regulate violation of consumer rights, unfair trade practices, etc., especially misleading advertisements. It's not responsible for specific disputes between buyer and seller, but the overall climate of seller consumer ecosystem. The composition is, it has a chairperson and 5 central commissioners and 5 regional commissioners. And I do not know whether, as per my understanding right now, this is in the form of, has reached a stage of getting formed for the first time. The selection of the Central Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA, is chaired by at least one Niti Aayog member, and having two secretaries in the union government. The qualification to be a member is at least 25 years of experience in fields such as law, economics, and public affairs. The term is 5 year again, or 65 years of age, whichever is earlier. So this is another body, Central Consumer Protection Authority, under this act. And on top of everything, on top of the district commission, state commission, national commission, and Central Consumer Protection Authority, there is something called Central Consumer Protection Council. It's basically the purpose is to advise on promotion and protection of consumer rights. It comprises of up to 36 members, including the chairperson is always Union Consumer Affairs Minister. So formerly Mr. Ramvilas Paswan, and now Mr. Piyush Goyal, who's standing in for the late Shri Ramvilas Paswan, who's taken additional charge. He's the chairperson. And Minister of State or Deputy Minister of Consumer Affairs, he's the deputy chairperson. Then there are two members of parliament and two state ministers by rotation. By state minister, not minister of state, but ministers for different states. They must, and also the secretary of Union Government's Consumer Affairs Ministry. So they are the members of Central Consumer Protection Council, and the term is 3 years. So because this is all new, they have started. Some of them have not even been formed. Some of them have started functioning. So we will come to know how effective they are, or how they are evolving. We will come to know in times to come. And but the overall philosophy seems to be right. In terms of making a regulatory, all three regulatory bodies, then a council, and involvement of the Union Consumer Affairs Minister and his deputy, everything which will advise on promotion and protection of consumer rights. On paper, it all appears to be very fine and proper. But how effective is it? It is. We still have to experience and comment upon it. In this slide, let me explain to you what are the highlights of this act. First of all, the way consumer is defined in the new act, which is the Act of 2019. It is not merely somebody who buys any good or hires any services, but it also includes both online and offline transaction customers. This is very important. The whether it is through electronic means, teleshopping, direct selling, multi-level marketing, that transaction will qualify, the customer, the purchaser in that transaction will qualify as a consumer, and he is protected under this act. However, as I explained this earlier repeatedly, that a person who obtains goods for resale or goods or service for any commercial purpose will not be considered as a consumer in this act. Another thing I want to say is the concept of product liabilities has been newly introduced, and it is defined as the responsibility of a product manufacturer or product reseller of any product or services, and he will have to compensate for any harm caused to a consumer due to defective product manufactured, sold, or deficiency in the service relating to that product. Once again, as in the old act, here also the rights of the consumers are defined. First right is that a consumer be protected against the marketing of goods, products, or services which are hazardous to life and property. So it is self-explanatory. And the consumer has to be informed about the quality, quantity, potency, purity, standard, and price of goods, products, or services. So quality, quantity. So you have to mention, for example, if you are buying a bottle of cold beverage, the quality needs to be mentioned. If you're buying a drug or medicine, the potency needs to be mentioned. Purity, if you're buying gold from any shop, then in the invoice, the purity of the gold needs to be mentioned. If you're buying any product, then in that product, the ISI standards to which it conforms to, it needs to be mentioned. Price of the good has to be there. This is all because, unless the customer is informed about it, how will a customer make a choice between discernible alternatives? Okay. Third is that, the third right to the consumer is that he be assured whenever possible access to a variety of goods, products or services at a competitive price. This is an important right of a consumer. It is not it is not prudent in a society that customers have very narrow choices, or because of some trust formed between the manufacturers, that they are able to create an artificial scarcity during the times during the times during some times, to be able to dominate the market by increasing the price. Okay, so they must have access to variety of goods, products or services at competitive prices. Competition is the key to safeguard the interest of the customer. The consumer has a right to be heard and be assured that customers' interest will receive due consideration at appropriate fora. So that is how we have, at the district level, at the state level, and at the national level, we have the commissions: district commission, state commission, and the national commission. The consumer right of consumer to seek redressal against unfair trade practice or restrictive trade practice or unscrupulous exploitation of consumer. Self-explanatory that there has to be a forum of appeal wherein he can file a complaint and lodge a complaint and seek redressal to his complaint. Sixth point, last but not the least, is consumer awareness. The Consumer Protection Act 2019 seeks to raise the level of consumer awareness. So these are the highlights of the act. Till the introduction of this new act, in fact, this act, although it is called Consumer Protection Act 2019, it was formally unveiled only in 2020 by the former Minister of Consumer Affairs, late Shri Ram Vilas Paswan. And let me again reiterate that all the appointments under this act are still taking shape. All appointments have not been made, and there are still certain gray areas in respect of the act. For example, in many of the websites which I checked, the how exactly the National Commission is constituted, who's the it is still a gray areas. Various sources of information give different kind of an answer. I checked the Bear Act also, and it also says an appointment will be made. So I have taken finally I have taken notes from mondac.com and prsindia.com, which are two of the best websites for legal services and especially services related to uh, any acts of parliament. So anyway, but this here I want to again signal that section 94 of this act, it refers to prevention of unfair trade practices in e-commerce and direct selling, mind you. So till now all your Amazons and Flipkarts and Shopclues and Myntra and what have you, they were not included in the Consumer Protection Act because it meant a marketplace but not the digital marketplace. But section 94 of the act now, it includes e-commerce and direct selling, and it also deals with the protection of interest and rights of consumers under e-commerce and direct selling. So those online marketplaces and auction sites can now be held in product liability section under the circumstances as stated in section 86 of the act. What product liability means, what I will explain to you in the further slide. But product liability means if there is a product manufactured and it has a potential to cause harm, or if it does cause harm, bodily harm or serious harm, then there are various penalties mentioned in the product liability section of the act. So even marketplaces, electronic marketplaces are included in this new act. And the act has introduced a vital concept of electronic service provider, and it is defined as a person who provides technologies or processes to enable a product seller to engage in advertising or selling goods or services to a consumer. And it includes all the online marketplaces or online auction sites. So this is an important aspect of the act which I wanted to highlight, and I have taken this from mondec.com. You can visit this site and read more about it. The establishment of CCPA, or Central Consumer Protection Authority, is one of the highlights of this act. Actually, CCPA is kind of a regulatory authority, not kind of it's actually a regulatory authority, and it will have wide-ranging powers to import penalties. It can recall goods, it can cause withdrawal of services and provide returns, investigate into the matter suo motu. The act also provides for establishment of an investigative wing, and this investigating wing will be a very high powered wing which will be headed by a director general who shall be appointed by the central government for conducting investigations, as per the order of this protection authority. So this act actually provides a lot of investigative mechanism also to protect the consumer. So I mean, compared to what this act contains, the old act which it has superseded would look very meek and would look very inadequate. But one must say that the old act was the earlier act was more than 33 years old, and there was a crying need for this act. Okay, so also, as I said, this act also provides electronic mode of filing complaint against any unfair trade practice or false or misleading advertisement to the district collector, the commissioner of the regional office, or to CCPA. So under this act, if there is a misleading advertisement, you can file a complaint against that to the district collector also. So this act seeks to involve all major functionaries of executive, the official machinery of Union of India, and the state governments to protect the interest of the consumer. So for example, if I feel that there is a company which is, let us say, a company which is advertising that it is servicing a car free for lifetime, and later on when one goes to the dealer to buy it, it is known that if you want to have free service for lifetime, you need to pay 3 lakh rupees extra to buy that car. I am taking a simplistic case. That means the ad is misleading. It's a misleading advertisement. I can write to CCPA directly, and CCPA will launch an investigation, and if it is found to be true, it can impose penalty on the car manufacturer. I am giving a case. I don't want to speak ill of the automobile industry, which is right now going through a very, very bad time during the pandemic. May the industry rise and shine again. So Central Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA, is another highlight of the Consumer Protection Act 2019. Product liability and penalties, offense and penalties. Product liability is an important component of Consumer Protection Act 2019. What is product liability? Product liability mainly means that what is the responsibility of the manufacturer or the seller or the reseller or the service provider for any harm that is caused to the consumer. That broadly is what is meant by product liability. And under this act, the new Act 2019 Consumer Protection Act, product liability is very finely divided into three main participants: the manufacturer, the reseller, the service provider. For example, if there is a manufacturing defect that suppose a particular kind of a toy for the babies, it results in accidents of the accident when the baby plays with that toy. This is clearly a manufacturing product liability. If suppose there is a product which has been supplied by a manufacturer and a reseller has altered the composition of that product or service, then the liability will fall with the reseller. Similarly, service provider. If the service provider is indulging in an unscrupulous act, then what should be the penalty on that service provider for that unscrupulous act? And one report or one complaint can be a basis for a wide-ranging penalty on that service provider. So product liability is an important concept. It has been the product liability action may be brought upon by a complaint against any product manufacturer, product service provider or product seller for any harm. And the Act has introduced a separate set of penalties with respect to misleading advertisements also. So you find that an advertiser is claiming that this two-wheeler will do 150. I'm giving a hypothetical example, taking a hypothetical situation. If a product is, if a two-wheeler will run 100 kilometers in a liter under city conditions, if that is the claim, and it is found that it is not doing it, then misleading advertisement. So fine can range from 10 lakh and there can be imprisonment up to 2 years, or fine can be 50 lakh with an imprisonment up to 5 years. Of course, a warning will be given, and it will depend upon the commission, upon the judgment of the consumer commission. But product liability is something earlier customer could not complain directly against the manufacturer, or whenever a civil court or the consumer court was dealing with such a thing, there were no firm clauses in the Consumer Protection Act of the old act which dealt with this. So now product liability has become a key component of the Consumer Protection Act, and penalties are provided. I have taken this from the website of mondeck.com. You can go to the website, and it's indeed a very comprehensive explanation as to what are the penalties for for what acts of what anti-consumer acts, and it clearly defines what is manufacturer's liability, what is reseller's liability, what is service provider's liability. For example, there could be a liability which may not belong to manufacturer, but it may belong to reseller. If you buy an automobile and the reseller did not install the some of the product features properly, then the product liability will not fall on manufacturer but on the reseller. So it's a very comprehensive piece of legislation. Let me now explain the mediation process, which is an important component of the Consumer Protection Act 2018. Mediation, as you know, is a term which is used for a process in which a person who's acceptable to two varying factions, he tries to resolve their differences by listening to the two sides and giving a patient hearing, and then trying to propose a solution. And it's a long drawn effort, and mediation is a process which avoids the need to go to the court or to litigation. So if the commission thinks, or if one of the parties makes a written request, when I say parties, I mean either the buyer or the seller, the parties which are in dispute in the consumer in the transaction. If anyone makes a request, a written request, that there is a possibility of the settlement of the dispute between the parties without taking it further, then the commission can transfer this to the mediation cell. So once it is transferred to the mediation cell, once again I would like to remind the students that this act came into effect in 2019 but was implemented only in the month of May 2020. So this is it's a work in progress. So whatever I am speaking, also I am speaking from because I don't have empirical data on the if there is a mediation process which has taken place or not. So from the secondary data which I have collected from various websites, most reliable websites like PRS India or Mondac.com. Okay, so what is the procedure to be followed? See, both the parties can mutually agree on a procedure to be followed, or if parties fail to come on a mutual ground, then mediator will propose a procedure. What will be the procedure? The mediator will fix the time, date and venue where the parties have to present or mediation proceedings will take place. Mediation proceedings can also take place at the mediation center, which is attached to the district commission or the state commission or the national commission. Joint meetings and separate meetings can be proposed by the mediator. So within a period of 10 days before the session, both parties have to submit their memorandum of issues to the mediator and to the other party. They would highlight that this is the issue which needs to be resolved. So if a buyer will submit a memorandum of issue to the mediator and also to the seller can also give his version to the mediator and necessarily to the buyer also. So both parties have to exchange their memorandum of issues which they are submitting to the mediator. So necessary information has to be provided by to the mediator by both parties, and mediator shall facilitate a voluntary resolution between the parties. He communicate views to the parties and help to assess the issue. So and within a period of 30 days after this, then parties have to agree. They should reach a amicable settlement. So if the parties arrive at a settlement, then the same will be reduced in writing and same needs to be signed by both the parties and the mediator. And mediator shall submit the detailed report of this settlement to the concerned commission. And if the parties fail to reach an agreement, then mediator shall submit a commission stating reasons for non-settlement. I think both the parties, there is a good chance that both the parties will agree to a settlement in the mediation itself, because mediation as a process does not involve hiring of lawyers. Both the parties sit together and the mediator is a person who is a respected person and who gives a sense of confidence to both the parties. So most of the conflicts are resolved once people have respect for one another and people have faith in the person who is mediating. So this is the mediation process in brief. Let me now dwell upon the complaint process under the new Consumer Protection Act 2019. First and most important thing is that the new act introduces online filing of consumer complaint. First step is issuance of notice. So before the filing of the complaint, it is advisable for the complainant to issue a notice to the opposite party, highlighting the defects, deficiencies in the goods or services provided. if parties don't agree to come to a mutual understanding, then complaint can be filed before a jurisdiction authority or a forum. Jurisdiction means, once again, if it is up to, if it is not exceeding 1 crore, then district commission. If it is 1 crore to 10 crore, then state commission, and national commission if it is exceeding 10 crores. So the place where the complaint has to be filed will be the place where the opposite party resides, or if there are more than one opposite party, then place where opposite parties reside, any of the place, or carry on business or personally works for gain. Does it mean that the person has to go there to file the complaint? No, because the complaint can be filed online. So online filing, and how can this be filed? I will explain that. This can be filed. Aggrieved party can register complaints on consumerhelpline.gov.in. Complaints can be registered by filling essential details like name, email, contact, etc. Complainant will receive a login credential through which he can register a complaint by uploading required documents like invoices, etc. There are different portals which are available for different sectors. A consumer can also register complaint through mobile app, namely NCH app, Umang app, or consumer app. Post registration, there will be a unique ID number which will be generated, and through this ID number the complainant can determine the status of his complaint. Fees of the complaint also has to be paid, can be paid online method also. And what is the fees? I found out the court fees has to be paid in the form of demand draft, or it can be paid online. For example, in respect of national commission, the appellant has to make a DD of rupees 5,000, or he can transfer it online. What should be the content of the complaint? Name and complete details of the complainant or the opposite party, date and time of purchase of goods or when the services were availed, necessary facts of the case establishing the cause of action, particulars or defect of complaint. What is the defect? What is the deficiency in service? And what is the relief which a person is seeking? In addition, of course, the documents supporting the contention of the complainant. For example, if there is an invoice, warranty, or receipt. Once again, I would like to come on on territorial jurisdiction. Place where can the complaint be filed? Place where the opposite party resides. Or if there are more than one opposite party, then the place where opposite parties reside or carry on business or personally works for gain. So this is the process, and it can be done online. The person does not have to go to that particular district commission to file it, and several apps are available. So in conclusion, what I would like to say is that the Act is a welcome change in the favor of consumers. It provides them with their clearly defined rights, and the dispute resolution process, it's a fast track process. Online marketplaces and online auction sites, which have all throughout been included under the purview of aggregator, they have now been included under the purview of the Act, which will place more responsibility on them. So they will be treated as sellers. Okay. Apart from establishing authorities at district, state, and national level, the Act also seeks to hold product manufacturers liable, along with the service providers and product sellers, where the rights of the consumers have been infringed due to defect or deficiency in goods and services. Once again, I'll recommend all my students to go to the website www.mondaq.com, and you will find a detailed explanation. You can also see the Act. The Act is available at the Government of India website. So I hope you have understood the complaint process, and to some extent what is this new Act, Consumer Protection Act 2019.